Guys, this is Kate Hula for AEP 858 for our Module 17 assignment. This is the graphic that I made that would go over our data protocol. It's a process that would repeat because, like we learned, our data analysis is always going on. It's always going to be occurring, especially with school improvement. So the first step that we would do is determine which data we want to focus on. Is there a certain objective or a skill set that we want to focus on, whether it's reading or math or science or social studies, whatever that it may be, just trying to figure out what that skill is. So then we can figure out how we're going to give that data. So are they going to have to do an exit ticket? Are they going to have to do a writing assignment, or is it going to be part of a test? And then we can figure out how we're going to collect that data. So at my school, we have two places that we put grades. One is Skyward and one is Mastery Connect. We use Mastery Connect throughout the whole year, and Skyward is where we put in end of quarter grades. So we would need to figure out if it's close enough to the end of the quarter to just put in Skyward, or do we put in Mastery Connect. The next thing we would do would be collect the data that we said we're going to do in the way that we said we would. After that, the third step would be analyzing the data. So this is where we ask ourselves, what strengths do our students have? Are there any gaps that are being formed? And then I also think it's important for us to ask why we think that there are gaps. So why do we think those gaps are there? Because that kind of helps us with our step 4, which is figuring out a plan to kind of close those gaps. So this is where we figure out, how can we do that? Do we need to do something during a teacher center? Do we need to do another practice sheet for nouns, verbs, and adjectives, something like that? And we also need to ask ourselves, what can we do now? What can we start implementing at this point in time? And then also, what can we do better next time, whether it's in the next module or the next unit, or maybe even for the next year for the students that are coming after these kids. So then step 5 would be implementing the plan. So that's where we'll just do what we said we're going to in step 4 and follow through with that. And then step 6 is when we are going to reflect back and kind of see if those gaps are closing, kind of talk about if there's any new observations that we're seeing, if what we're doing is working, and then if we need to kind of make additional changes. At my school, we also use a Google form to kind of keep all this information so we can remember what we were supposed to do when we talk about the data the next time. So I have a little reminder in the corner to don't forget to fill out the Google form. So that's kind of the process that I would implement at my school. Thank you.